Hi, Niki.
Hi.
Take us back to the moment where you decided to leave university to pursue your career in content creation. What was going through your mind, and how did you overcome the fear and uncertainty of that decision and that change?
I was searching up so many YouTube videos about dropping out and how other people did it. And there wasn't even that much out there, honestly, because it's kind of your choice at the end of the day. No one can influence that. But I definitely was worried about what my parents would think. They're very like traditional, and like immigrant parents are always just going to be so much more strict. But I decided that if I really, really put my mind towards something, I could do it. Like that's how it's always been for me. And I knew that it would work out. I had this like, you have to have this kind of confidence about yourself where it's just like, you know, you think you're good enough, so why not? Why not take the risk? And my mom did bawl her eyes out when I dropped out. Like she was so sad. But I just kept telling her that like if I wanted to, I could go back. I'll always have that option. But to be honest, it was probably, so this happened during the time that I went to LA for the first time when I was 17. And I saw how people out there were living. People my age had apartments to themselves. They had money. They had great like friendships, or so it seemed, you know. To me, everything was like this crazy illusion of, wow, they made it. And honestly, it was kind of good that I saw this world of theirs because it showed me that it was possible. And it gave me some kind of like reassurance that, oh, why can't I do that? You know, what's stopping me? And ever since I did have a YouTube channel since I was 12. So
Yeah,
maybe I secretly always knew I was going to do this. And I also did actually start with photography being my full-time thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was going to be my end all be all, but you know, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
And I'm never going back.
Never. So you mentioned there was a lot of confidence that you had about what you could do in the world. So how did your early years, you mentioned your family is also quite traditional. How did your early years shape that person that you see now?
I think stubbornness.
Really?
I'm just very stubborn. And if someone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to go and try and do it.
Where did you get that from?
My mom, I think. Yeah. She's very stubborn too. But I also think like, oh my gosh, this is so zodiac sign of me, but it's because I'm a Scorpio.
Of course. It all makes sense now.
Of course. Yeah, it's the stars actually.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. So run me through what was going on when you were like, I'm going to do this full time. So you had the photography business that you were doing. Mm-hmm. How was that doing? Did you have savings? Had you already, there's a fly running around. Did you have savings? Did you have already a following on YouTube? Like at what point were you like, you know what, maybe I can make this a thing?
So I reached 300K on TikTok when I went to LA, and it was pretty like small compared to all the other people that I was meeting out there. They had millions of followers. And I thought, okay, with 300K, like, is that enough to take this full time? But first I was thinking obviously about photography being my route. And I thought that with photography and with the social media management job that I had at that time too, it was like my COVID job, you know, that's kind of where it stemmed from. But I thought as a social media manager, as photography, like maybe a bit of social media partnerships, 3 streams of income seemed like enough to hold me by. And I made the decision after dropping out shortly to move out of my parents' house and decided to get a studio. So that photography studio was going to be my like 4th stream of income, where I was going to rent it out with another like studio partner, and we were just going to have a space to do our photography in, but also have other people come by and shoot their stuff.
You're a hustler.
Yeah.
Love it. Where did that come from?
Lemonade stands.
Really? Did you start with a lemonade stand?
Lemonade stands. I made bracelets.
How old were you when you started doing
garage
this?
Sales. 14.
Wow.
Yeah. ish.
And you're in Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I was just always trying to think of more ways to like have my own money because my parents weren't the kind to do like allowance or anything.
Yeah.
Obviously. Like I just had to, go to Forever 21 or wherever I shopped back in the day. And I would just think of like a $14 shirt being like really expensive. Mm. And I was like, one day it's not going to be expensive. And so honestly, it's kind of crazy to even like carry your childhood self with you, like that inner child that people say, and look back on the way that you viewed the world has changed so much and has evolved. And like, I don't know, I find it really cool to like remember my thoughts or what they used to be back then and like look at it now and be like, you've grown.
Did you journal much when you were younger?
I did. Oh my gosh, I had a diary. And like, it was still the same diary up until like 4 years ago. And then I eventually switched like journals. It filled up. But the diary entries back then used to be like what I did in a day.
Really? That's still not bad.
Still not bad. And I mean, it was cute.
Do you do it every day?
No.
Okay.
Just on the fun days. And then I would,
and the bad days.
At the end, I would be like, best day ever, BDE.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that was my thing.
Yeah. So you started off as a enterprising young woman at 14. Yeah. It still seems like, what were your inspirations early on? Because that's not normal for a lot of kids.
Well, I think, I don't know. My inspiration was coming from a family that didn't have much, like immigrant parents. My mom working at Tim Hortons when they first moved to Canada. And
where are they from?
Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, so both my parents are Russian. My dad basically promised my mom a better life in Canada, as immigrants kind of do. Uh-huh. And I grew up on like secondhand clothes pretty much. Yeah. Thrifting, when that became a trend, actually, I was like so confused.
I'm so ready for this.
I was so confused.
I've been training my whole life for this moment.
Why is thrifting trending? Like, that's supposed to be for the low-income families. Like, come on.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Gentrification.
But yeah, I guess that made me hustle, was being like, well, I don't think we should live that way. I don't think we deserve it. I think it could be better.
What is your view on visualization and how it can impact the outcomes of your life?
Anything that you say comes into existence. Anything you think comes into existence. Like, all our thoughts are energy, is what I've learned through many of those self-help podcasts, I must say. But I've had this kind of inner battle of like spirituality versus religion, and then like not knowing which to follow, which was right. It didn't have to be that complicated. I was kind of overthinking it. But I learned the balance of both, or, what I believe in. But I don't even think any of the visualization stuff has to do with spirituality. People really sort the manifestation thing into that being like, oh, you and your crystals and your zodiacs and whatever. I don't think it's that. I think visualization and manifestation is just what we tell ourselves, you know? And my mom, for example, is a person who stresses a lot. She is always like revved up, like her nerves and everything is just out of control. And I think she honestly puts that on herself by telling herself things that aren't even true. Yeah. Like whenever I used to be out late at night, she would just be constantly telling herself that something's going to happen to me. And like, that's horrible, like that's going to happen if you keep saying that. And, I've seen things play out so strangely where it almost feels like a sign when something does happen. Like if you say that something happens and then it happens, it's like, what does that mean? Yesterday I had a friend, for example, to say that he was thinking of breaking up with his girlfriend. She texts him 2 hours later being like, I think we should break up, which is wild. It's crazy proof that this like energy is what you're putting out there. And for me, that's been the way I've started to like live my life. That's like the cheat code to life, what everyone says, And I've started trying to follow it, you know? It's not hating the player, it's kind of like the game or whatever that saying is. I tried.
New age philosophy over here. So what's an example of how you've begun to use manifestation in your life to lead to the life you live now?
I calm my own stress by telling myself things that are going to be like, oh, it's going to be fine. Like I'm always late to things, but I always tell myself it's going to be fine. And then like nobody really cares that I'm late at the end of the day. Yeah, I think we all put our thoughts into ourselves and like overthink and stress too much. And it's all, yeah, as you said before, about perspective, about what you feed yourself and what you focus on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think where it's hard is being clear on exactly what you want because you have to be so precise. And sometimes even I don't know what I want. Like nobody knows really what they want unless they have every single detail written out. And so I guess the way I try to do it is, being very specific and just always coming back to those specific thoughts just to not like be all over the place with what I want, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I use it more in the short term way.
Yeah.
Like today, tomorrow, this week.
Yeah.
Rather than 5 years from now. I've stopped trying to focus on the future so much.
Really?
We're always living in the future or the past, you know? And I've been working on trying to be more present myself.
Yeah. How do you find being present while also being a content creator full time?
Oh yeah, that's tough. Actually, there's that balance I've had to find with like putting your phone down at one point. Honestly, yesterday, even my roommate and I were talking about how bad we want to do a week off social media and like how much I've been craving that because always creating and always like thinking that I have to record every single part of my life, it's just so, it gets so annoying, you know? I'm tired of like thinking that anyone, like who even cares? Like sometimes I go back to the point of like, why do I need to show this to someone right now? Why can't I just enjoy it for myself and be a little selfish like that, you know? Yeah. So during hangouts, I mean, for quality time, dates, friendship hangouts, family time, I never have my phone out. That I find does not need to be documented. And that I find could just be like a little selfie if you want. But otherwise, that person has my full attention. Yeah. For travel and stuff, usually first 5-10 minutes is like photo taking.
Phone eats first.
Yeah. and then, you know, the rest is just to enjoy because then you get that work stuff out of the way. Yeah. And then you're kind of there.
Yeah. So you have a combination of, I mean, you do a lot, right? Mm-hmm. You do a lot of creative stuff. You've got your jewelry brand that you started, and the lemonade stands, all these very, very interesting and savvy businesses at 22 plus multiple 7-figure accounts. Mm-hmm. It's a lot, right? So how have you managed to combine the artistry and the business side?
I mean, I've lost my creative spark
really?
Many times.
How do you get it back?
This journey. Oof. Not creating or creating just for myself. Yeah. So I've tried to do these like photo walks. I really have been just telling myself that I'm going to do it and never have.
What's a photo walk?
When you just like take out your camera and just take photos of anything you want, you know? I am so used to posting my photos that I never really take photos for myself. I don't even know what a photo for myself is anymore. You know, what's something I'm not going to share and is just for me and for memories. My creativity outlets have become music. I've tried to get into DJing to be like you. But I always used to be like a musical person. And then I think I just have to take a rest sometimes. Yeah. Like a true rest of not putting anything out there. Yeah. So that's why the social media break is needed.
Yeah. Have you done that before? Mm-hmm. What happened? Did the world fall apart?
No, I come back with so many introspective thoughts. I did this yoga retreat back back in October. And that's when I really said, like, I'm not doing anything on my phone. Like, I'm just going to be present, going to do yoga, going to be in nature. And that really, like, I came back from it like a new person, I swear. It really did something in me. But I think anytime it's really good. I've tried to do the whole like no phone one day of the week thing, but it usually just doesn't end up working. I get like a spontaneous energy in me to like film. Now even I've tried to just film on the days that I feel like filming, you know? I've asked ChatGPT, frankly, give me like a weekly schedule where I won't feel burnt out that I have to film every single day. So.
And it's worked? Has it helped?
Well, ChatGPT helps in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I've probably trauma dumped on it like 3 times last week. It's like having your smartest friend be right there at your disposal. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Unless it's just like gassing you up unnecessarily.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's the best part.
Yeah. Feed my delusion.
Yeah, it's true. But the delusion is what's going to keep you going in this world where like nobody's used to believing in themselves anymore. It feels like, you know, it feels like we're all just on this hamster wheel constantly and kind of running in like a program, like a system, like a cycle. Yeah. But once you kind of tap into like what you actually want, maybe escaping that cycle and actually just being grounded through the cycle is like what's important. Sorry, I don't know where the spiral of thoughts came from.
No.
I'm just thinking about like how fast time passes by.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. I mean, the lack of confidence is really interesting. I feel like a lot of it's got to do with the content world as well, which is a weird one.
Well, of course. I mean, we're being fed all these trends and beauty standards and like, why are people getting Botox at 20 years old? I don't understand. You know, it's these crazy, like everyone's in their delusional world in some way, thinking that you always need to improve yourself. This glow up culture I've talked about in like my past YouTube videos. It's hard to differentiate from that even because I try to think of like a YouTube video idea and all that's out there or all that's on my feed at least is like, here's how to get your summer body. Here's how to look better and glow up tips. And that's been my videos in the past too. You know, I can't even say, but it just sucks that like, I mean, I saw this one TikTok of a girl yesterday and she came back to social media after 5 years. That's why I was talking about the whole like phone social media break. And she said like a point that I knew was true. And she just kind of reminded me of it. But the fact that, yeah, we always think that we need to do more and we need to like match this beauty standard or keep feeding into this consumerism. I mean, the whole world is just it's thriving on consumerism. And realizing like what truly makes you beautiful or what truly makes you you and like being so comfortable with yourself as you are. Yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
How do you find that from your experience?
I've started trying to feed myself content. Like if I can't do a full social media break, I'll just try and like watch the creators that I actually think can help with that. There's this one girl, Hitomi, I forget her last name, but she is so grounded, like such a good creator to follow because she truly like connects with nature, shows people how to become more grounded and explains her journey of like, you know, discovering her femininity or whatever, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
Discovering her confidence. And it's a good thing to follow. Yeah.
So curating it a bit more. I have an app that blocks basically the feed on YouTube completely and directs me to my watch later.
Interesting.
And that's it. So every time I go on YouTube, it goes straight to my watch later.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, share that with me. Okay.
Yeah, I can share that with you, which has been good. And I've started setting alerts for, I started setting alerts for certain creators and different channels.
Okay, cool.
And that's the only thing I really try to focus on, which has been.
I wish there was an app like that for Instagram.
Well, yeah, there isn't. I mean, blocking them on your phone is.
But then you have to post, and then you're just gonna like end up scrolling anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So I'd like to talk about confidence a bit more. Have you always been a confident person, like in front of camera? No.
No. I don't think anyone like grows up and is like naturally confident. I mean, some kids, but I definitely had to work on that. I think like, oh my God, for me, it was not even the height. Like you'd think that like a sudden growth spurt would be like kind of crazy, but
when did you grow?
I was pretty average up until like 10th grade.
Yeah. Felt the same for me.
Yeah.
Still average.
But I definitely, for me, it was the chest. Not having like anything come in ever, actually. That was tough.
Really?
You know, I was so excited about my first bra. Oh. You'll never get that feeling as a guy. Maybe, but you know, it was a whole different like thing. And then, yeah. Anyway, back to the confidence stuff around all of that. I think just like accepting yourself, accepting your body as the only body you'll ever have. And like, honestly, this morning, such a random thought. I looked at my legs and I was like, damn, like I'm strong. I feel strong finally, you know? Part of me in another, like in a different point of my life, I'd look at my legs and be like, oh, they're too thin or they're too like bulky or something. But now I was just like, I had this newfound appreciation for them this morning. I went rock climbing yesterday and I was like, I can't believe I did that, you know?
Yeah.
It's because of your legs. And like, I don't know. I find to be very, like, I've learned to be so grateful for like the bodies that we have, because some people don't even have some limbs or don't even have like a fully functioning brain, you know?
Well, a lot of people don't have a fully functioning brain.
My frontal lobe is still not developed.
3 more years.
But I mean, it's crazy how the human body is so taken for granted every single day.
So what were the specific techniques or ways you managed to become more accepting of who you are and what you're working with?
Okay, this might sound strange, but like standing naked in front of the mirror.
I've done that.
You've done that?
I've done that.
I think every person has to do that at least like once a year.
Yeah.
You know? Because then I think it was honestly the first time I did it was like health class when I was young. The health teacher just told us to like look at our bodies one day, and like
so everyone stood naked in the class.
Not in the class. Heyo.
That's crazy.
I went home that day and I was like, shit, this is what we're working with, huh?
Did you say anything to yourself, or were you just kind of like?
No, I mean, it felt kind of strange. We never do that. Like we just like kind of hop into the shower and we're like, okay. But,
yeah.
You know, to be fully like present there in a sense is like, well, this is what we were given.
Yeah.
You know? And another technique has been, well, a lot of people will say like practice affirmations and like tell things to yourself. That doesn't work for me. You know, I'm like, what am I doing? For me, it's more just like, just like thinking about, you know, you do like a full body scan. There's like these meditations where you scan throughout your entire like head to toe thing, and you feel every part of your body, and like it gets like a little tingly or whatever, and you're just kind of like learning to differentiate all your parts.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's that's a good thing to do once in a while too, because then you like learn to appreciate even like your nails, your knuckles, I don't know, everything. And just being more aware of what you have, who you are in the physical presence.
Yeah. I read a book. No, I was listening to a podcast for a while. It was like the Mindset Mentor during COVID. And he had this thing where he suggested every day for like a month or something, you just stand in front of the mirror naked and just be like, I love you. I love you. And I did it for like a month. And the first few times I couldn't look at myself in the eye. It's really crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after a while I was like able to do it. It's like I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. Because I was even, oh my God, I was falling asleep last night and I was trying to visualize like myself in my, like I was trying to like, I don't know, daydream, night dream, I don't know. But
Lucid dream.
I don't know. I was just having these thoughts and I was trying to visualize like me. And then I realized, wait. Why can't I don't even know how I look? Because it's true. We never see each other or we never see ourselves like in our entire lifetime. We only see us through like reflections of mirrors, cameras, whatever. But we never actually see ourselves. And I find that to be such a crazy thought because it becomes harder to visualize yourself. Like you can't look at yourself with your eyes closed. Isn't that crazy?
I just see darkness. Do you visualize? Like, are you a very visual person?
Mm-hmm. I learn, like I'm a visual learner.
Yeah. Because I just like, if I close my eyes and try to imagine this is black.
Well, you got to sit and think for a while.
Nothing there.
But yeah, I think it's much easier to see other people in your thoughts.
Yeah.
But way harder to see yourself.
Yeah. Just quickly though, I love doing this podcast. If it's positively impacted you in some way and you would like to support us, please subscribe. By subscribing, it allows us to build a much bigger base of listeners, which results in better guests, better production, and a better show overall. Alternatively, please take a look at the affiliate links of the products that I use and love in the comments below and consider purchasing using those links. They'll give you a discount and they'll also provide the podcast a small kickback. These are two very easy ways for you to support us as we continue to grow the podcast that we absolutely love doing. Thank you for your support, and now back to the episode. So what if someone was to start creating content now and wanted to become an influencer or wanted to get into content creation and make the media world more of a career, what would you say to them?
I'd say that you have to tune into yourself and be like, well, what can I share with the world that's going to be valuable? Because relying on just your looks is not going to get you through. That's what a lot of people do. And it gets them, honestly, it gets them like pretty far.
Depends on how good looking you are.
That's true. But I think
for the rest of us,
I mean, I kind of like thrived off of value. You know, I was trying to teach people something and I think that worked. It helped being attractive, I guess, but also just like knowing that I can have something valuable to say.
How did you figure out what to say?
Well, I thought about my strong suits. I thought about like my photography and modeling experience and I was like, I actually know a lot about this field. Yeah. And now I'm trying to build an app off of everything I know about that field. So just trying to like further it more because I realized at one point I didn't have to teach myself something new. I could just work with what I have, you know, and make it work.
Yeah.
So, but to people starting content creation, I'd say, figure out what you're good at and figure out the strong suits of your personality. Is your personality even strong enough to talk in front of the camera? Because I knew that like mine was somewhat, but I don't think I could lead a full podcast and have a lot of people listen to it right now. So, yeah.
I mean, the podcasting thing is just it develops over time. Like you started the YouTube channel, what, at 12, you said? Mm-hmm. So you've been doing it for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. Also, practice makes perfect. Practice does help. Yeah. I was the first episodes of this podcast was so bad.
Really? So bad. I think also what's important is with that practice thing is you don't even have to post the first few videos that you make.
Yeah.
You know, like that's so easy to just like, it kind of tricks your brain into thinking, well, I'm not going to post this anyway. Let me just like see what I can do with this video. And you make a video, you don't post it. It just takes off all that pressure right away.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I've Joe and a bunch of other people that I've been speaking to about this have said that I should be doing a lot more solo episodes. Mm-hmm. And I've just not wanted to, and I just kept putting it off. I don't know, I feel like kind of weird about just sitting there for half an hour talking about a topic. So that what you just said then is a useful point that I've never actually thought about, which is you don't actually have to post it. It's just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows if that ends up being posted one day.
Yeah.
Or you decide to like come back to it, or you find it in your archives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me just go ahead and send it.
Yeah. Got to send it. So talk to me about so it's NOVII
Yes.
and the digital course you did as well. So what were some of the learning curves in getting that started, and any mistakes or lessons you learned that you want to share around kind of content creation and building a business?
So many. I mean, the reason I even started NOVII, which is not really existent anymore in a sense, the website's still up, but I don't really try to take it anywhere now. I think I'm maybe going to rebrand one year, but for now it's on pause. Mm-hmm. I learned so much through like learning, like having a business and running it all by yourself. I mean, there's so much work that goes into it. I didn't even know. And so many things that you don't even think about. And to try and overcome each challenge of like samples not coming in on time or shipping customs and so many things about physical products that is just annoying to deal with. But I really did have a lot of those moments where I would just sit there and be like, do I keep going? Do I give up? And then I would listen to a podcast and I'd be like, how did business owners get through like their most difficult challenges? And then that would help and be like, well, you learn after your challenges. Like failure is how you learn. So I just kept telling myself that every time something would fail, I'd be like, this is how you learn. Yeah. This is part of the journey.
Yeah.
But with the course too, that was a thing that like really took me a year to do it. Like it took me a year to think about it and then actually take action. So a little too long, but did it go the way I wanted it to? No. But did it lead me to having another idea like this app? Yes. So I think there's always going to be a positive about starting something.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't go the way you plan it.
Yeah.
You're always going to get something out of it.
Yeah.
Because you actually put in the time and effort. And I believe there's always going to be some kind of reward for your time and energy and effort.
Yeah, for sure. So what happened with the jewelry business? Like what made it go on pause?
I think I wasn't passionate about the products anymore.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
And unless it's making money hand over fist, it's like...
And I still kept getting orders after that too, which like after I announced, I don't know if I officially announced that I was pausing it. But me not being passionate about what I'm selling, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like, if I wouldn't buy it, then why would I sell it?
And you wouldn't buy it, the products that you initially were selling?
Well, that's why I discounted them a lot.
Oh shit. You didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was like 75% off. So, but I think like I had a middleman.
Yeah.
Helping me out. And then that middleman left. And wasn't helping me anymore. So I find that like that's a part where I relied on someone.
Yeah.
And it kind of went to shit.
Yeah. So what have you learned from a very young age?
Ooh,
don't trust anybody.
Don't trust anybody.
I wonder if that's the Russian immigrant attitude of like you can't rely on anybody. Because it's like a I guess it's culturally it's very like it can be somewhat standoffish. Like
yeah.
So
not standoffish, self-assured.
What's the difference?
Well, standoffish is like rude. Standoffish is like, cold. I do think Russians are very cold.
Pretty cold.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It comes from the weather. It's cold as fuck.
Yeah. No, like true Russians are cold. So unapproachable. I'm kind of scared of them. But anyway.
Yeah. So would you say you align with that more, or have you kind of moved into the more Western, like open view of
definitely Western.
the world?
Yeah. I think I grew up just like Canadian.
Yeah.
But having like Russian culture in me, which is different from like the true Russian beliefs. I don't know.
Yeah.
How to differentiate that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the food. I like the music. My few pop songs that I remember from my childhood. And I like knowing the language.
Yeah.
At least I'm bilingual.
Yeah. Yeah, I can speak English. That's it. That's all I've needed. I mean, Australia is like 90% white and everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
So haven't needed anything else.
But I think because I travel a lot, I would love to know other languages.
Yeah.
I keep telling myself I'm going to learn, but it never happens.
Give it another year and then eventually you'll do it. No.
Maybe 5.
Yeah. What podcasts are you listening to that help give you some?
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty.
I met him once.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Jay Shetty's great. I think also Mel Robbins is good.
Yeah.
Classic. Dr. Huberman Lab.
Yeah.
Diary of a CEO.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some of my guests have been on his podcast, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, moving up in the world very slowly. So.
Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing great, sweetie. I want to quickly chat about the online presence, how you've handled fans, critics. How do you handle criticism, negative feedback, and what have you learned about self-worth with social media?
I've stopped listening to people online. Like genuinely just like could not care less what they say. If it's good, if it's bad, don't care. Sucks. But I think just like listening to yourself is what's most important, and you could get really lost in the sauce. Listening to your loved ones is also important. But like people online don't know you. Like they only know your content, and that's only one part of you. And I've learned to try and like develop myself as a person that is so much more off social media. Like I truly think if you know me personally, you'll know me. Like I don't think the social media content really gets into how I truly am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at a very early age, I stopped listening to like hate comments, knowing that I'm so much more than that. Like they're just typing behind a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. People hide a lot and then they say mean things, and it's just projection, jealousy, projection.
Have you managed to find the differentiation between hate comments and actual useful feedback? How do you find that without getting offended?
I think, well, sometimes I will read messages. I'm not going to say that I don't, because I do. Like messages is different from comments. But with messages, if someone tells me how like one of my content, like videos, whatever, made them feel, then I will listen to that, because
even if it's negative.
What is like, yeah.
Do you get negative messages like that, or is it always like, oh my God, babe?
I honestly don't get much hate, which I'm very grateful for. But I also think it's because I share like useful things instead of just like me
opinions and
like my opinions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've never shared anything political, never going to, never shared anything like that. I mean, I don't talk about it much to even my friends. I hold that was not a word. I hold a lot of things like deep inside that I'll only tell like a few certain people.
It's the Russian culture.
Yeah.
through and through.
I honestly don't even think that everyone's opinions should be like, I don't think that like everyone's so expressive nowadays and like, go you, free speech. But sometimes, I mean, I don't care what that person on the street has to say. Like maybe they think their opinion is valuable. Sure, everyone's is. But I don't think we need to listen to everything.
Opinions are like arseholes. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone has one.
Yeah.
Someone said something really funny to me recently. They were like, the democratization of men with microphones is going to be the downfall of society. I lost it. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, I was like, ooh. So wrapping up on this part of the podcast, if you could distill everything you've learned from 12 into making a YouTube channel, into photography, into seven-figure following on YouTube, Instagram almost, TikTok, all that sort of stuff, building businesses and moving to New York. what are the core principles and the guiding light that you would like to have the listeners understand that it may help them to have a similar path?
I didn't gather any of that.
You didn't? No, you're just vibing.
No. You said more so about like the journey?
Yeah. So what kind of principles would you take for your life so far that anyone listening that wants to potentially emulate this would be able to apply?
Okay. First is that you shouldn't waste much time. Time is precious and time is money. And I think you could do a lot with your time that you're probably wasting your time on. Using your free time towards things that will actually help you as a person, even if it's hobbies or sports or creative arts and movement, anything, but not scrolling, because scrolling is disappearing. Like you're just you disappear for a bit. It's like you
actually do.
off.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And other than the whole like time is valuable thing, probably the fact that you should just tap into what you want, learn to ground yourself, learn to be one with yourself, and
stare at yourself naked. It's actually a very good technique. Stare at yourself naked. Honestly.
And take risks. I think taking risks is the big thing. Listen to the universe, listen to the signs around you, listen to your path, because everyone has a purpose in this life and you're just trying to find yours. And definitely recommend Jay Shetty's podcast for finding a purpose, like how
it's literally called On Purpose.
Yeah. But there's this one episode like about like finding your purpose, all about it. And he goes deep into like all the techniques that you could use. And I've definitely followed a lot of those self-help podcasts. They are so valuable. I think the more we listen, the more we learn. It's kind of like the whole like thing with opinions too. You're kind of you're not listening when you're speaking out so much.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I think another part is surrounding yourself with the right people. I find networking was the thing that got me through.
Really?
After dropping out, I knew that was going to be the tool that was going to get me to where I want.
Yeah. How did you network effectively?
I talked to anyone and everyone. It was nice.
It's a good start.
And honestly, I asked them for advice.
Yeah.
I asked people, what's the one piece of advice that you would give me with my position right now? The more you listen, the more you learn.
That's a great question to ask.
Yeah. And especially for some reason, for a big chunk of my life, up until a few years ago, I was really looking up at people from their age. I thought that the older you are, the smarter you are, which sometimes isn't true. But I was asking like really successful older people mostly, like, what would you say to me right now if you were to tell me like how I can achieve my goals? And I've heard a lot of different things, Some people were more willing to help than others. But I also think like the friend circle that you have impacts you a lot. Like, are these people also following their dreams, or are they just getting by?
Yeah.
And there's a balance, there's the people you hold so close to your heart. And I don't think you should just cut everyone out. I was in that habit once where
really?
I went through like cutting a lot of ties, and I learned, hold up, we can't do that. Slow down. Like, it doesn't mean that these people are bad people. It just means that you shouldn't put all your time in them.
Yeah.
Because what are you getting out of it? Do you feel inspired after you hang out with that person?
Yeah.
That's what I've asked a lot of, like, after my hangouts, that's what I have asked myself. And I want to feel inspired. I want to feel energized. I want to feel like I came out better instead of drained, because there was a lot of hangouts where I would feel pretty drained at the end.
Yeah.
But I learned to differentiate that fast. And now I think I have a great circle of people around me, because once you like learn how to sense energies, then you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that is just slowing down and being able to like be in touch with the subtle components of your life and experience. and just listening to the little whispers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been something I've been working on a lot.
Yeah.
Just trusting that little like whisper that tells you the right direction to go.
Yes, your gut.
Yeah.
It's your gut.
That's what some people call it.
You gotta listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
I mean,
what if you have IBS though?
Funny. I think your intuition can guide you in very good directions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's guided me.
Yeah. And you're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what I found myself asking? Like I would come to friends being like seeking advice on a situation. And if I'm already seeking advice about something, that probably means it's not good. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, there was this like one brand opportunity. No, a brand opportunity where I kept thinking like, do I go on that trip? Do I go on that trip? And if I wasn't already like 1,000% about it, or even like, yeah, you know, if it's not a simple yeah, it's probably my gut telling me that it's not a good idea. And I didn't go on the trip, and a better opportunity came.
Really?
As it should.
Yeah. You know what? I have not trusted my gut for a very long time, and I've gone directions based on a lot of fear. And I remember there was a girl I dated years ago, and when we would fight, I would consult my friends about it, and she hated it. Mm-hmm. She's like, why can't you just figure it out yourself? And I'm like, because I don't know the right answer. Yeah. But she was great. She would be like, she would sit with it and she would reflect on it, and then she'd come to some conclusion. And I realized that that's probably a better way to approach a lot of this, and that I needed to work on that a hell of a lot more. And it's taken a long time. It's been a very slow process. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely getting better.
Yeah. It's also just like training yourself.
Yeah.
Practicing anything.
Trusting.
Yeah.
Trusting
is hard sometimes.
That was the core. I just didn't trust that I was good enough, really. But it's getting better.
It's learning to value
yourself. Get there by 40.
Too, you know? Learning to value yourself and like differentiating what you need in your life gets better after you put some kind of value on yourself.
Yeah.
Being like, no, I actually am the shit.
That's going to be our little snippet. Start of the podcast.
No. Don't.
Joe.
I'm watching you.
Oh, that's funny. Well, look, I'm conscious of time, and I want to just talk to you about some general, like, just life conversations. I got a few questions around that. Yeah. So what views have you got that would make people either scratch their head or get angry?
Views?
Yeah. Any hot takes you got right now?
Clubbing is overrated.
That's so valid.
Yeah. I mean, when you go to a club sober, you're like, what?
You know I'm sober.
Really?
It's been like 3 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I'm always out.
Yeah, you are.
Chronically outside.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But very good. Very good trait.
That's your hot take?
Oh, yeah. Clubbing is overrated. People should know how to cook more.
Oh, yeah.
Why does nobody else know how to cook?
Yeah. Do you know how to cook?
Yes.
What's your favorite
meal to cook?
Otherwise, I
wouldn't be saying that. Salmon.
Salmon, yeah.
A good salmon, like harvest bowl. Grains, vegetables, all that. Mm-hmm. Just basically like Chipotle at home.
No. What's the biggest thing over the last 2 years you've changed your mind on?
Probably where I want to live. I've went like back and forth between America, Europe, Australia, everywhere. But I've also just decided that I don't have to decide right now. I've decided a lot of things about now just being the time that I can still be 22, you know? I like to rush it a lot. I like to just...
Well, you are Russian.
Sorry.
Yeah. So New York isn't home?
No. New York is overwhelming to me.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, you haven't been here for long.
It's. I know, but I already know.
Okay.
That it's
Trust your gut.
Not gonna be exactly.
Okay.
And I do love the people here, but
sorry.
Careful there. No, I I do think that I'm meant to live by the ocean.
Yeah.
That's what would make me the happiest, genuinely.
Yeah.
It's just like nature.
Yeah, I love the beach. It's like my calming place.
Miss it?
I do miss it. What I miss the most is walking my dog on the beach that was like 20 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing. But, you know, we're here for a purpose, following my gut.
Good.
I don't really know why I'm here, but we're here. We're vibing. So we'll see.
I think you're making a lot of things work out for yourself.
I'm trying my best.
It's good.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of things.
Doing a few.
Doing a
Heavily.
lot. You're always somewhere.
I'm always
Doing
outside,
something.
chronically outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a home?
I don't like the home. But I have a home.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Joe's couch. Actually, when I first came to New York, I slept on Joe's couch for like 3 weeks. Yeah. So it was a small couch.
Oh.
I ended up giving up for a while and just slept on the floor. I was like, I'm going to be stoic.
See, that's perseverance right there.
Now I have a bed. Really moving up in the world.
Love it.
On the CEO thing, what if they're a CEO of a company that has $10,000 in revenue? What if they're just a CEO of nothing?
Yeah, maybe we should specify.
Just go on Raya, CEO and founder of nothing.
I'll be a CEO soon.
You are a CEO.
Yeah.
You literally are. Niki Victoria Media.
Crazy.
Media and
LLC.
Ventures.
Venture.
NVV. Niki
Yeah.
Victoria Ventures.
Ooh, sounds good.
Yeah. I'm going to trademark that before you get to what's an example of a kind gesture somebody did for you that had a massive impact?
Oh.
Let me do that again. What's an example of a small kind gesture that somebody did for you that had a massive impact on you?
My roommate washing my dishes.
Oh, okay.
She's so sweet. You know, it's just when you really don't want to do something and then you come home and it's done for you. Wow. Now I wash her dishes.
Yeah. So I was going to say, how do you show up for other people in the way based on that kindness?
I love kind of thinking of my friends as like, how would I treat my partner? Let me treat my friends that way. Because sometimes I think I lack like a relationship, but I'm not really lacking a relationship. I'm lacking the way it's going to make me feel. And so I think by showing up for friends like that, by being like, what would I do for a person I love? You know, it's kind of, yeah, it's just like the little things, you know?
That's a great way to think about it. What would I do for a person I love?
Yeah.
Even if you don't love them?
What do you mean?
Saying that to every interaction that you have with people versus just like,
you mean like even strangers?
yeah,
I see.
it's interesting.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it is, right? Like, oh, you might have a challenging interaction with somebody that like maybe you're not super close with, and it's like, what would I do for a person I love in this situation?
Yeah.
Might be a nice way to frame it.
That is really nice. That's
Yeah.
a good way to look at it.
What came out of your mouth? What is the most beautiful thing you've created?
Connection with others. My biggest, like, I don't know, the thing that brings me so much joy is having my friends meet my friends, you know? Like, I have a lot of separate friendships, and whenever I see that someone thrives with one of my friends and, like, they connect, and then a whole new friendship blossoms, that brings me so much joy. Even, like, how you met Harry over the weekend, it was, like, just anything like that. Any kind of new friendship is that is the most beautiful thing I've created is new friendships. Yeah. Between other people.
Yeah.
Not even myself, just like letting them frolic and thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my previous business in Australia was running like an event company. I did festivals and owned a club for a while and did a bunch of stuff like that for about 6-7 years. And it's been so interesting putting on these events and like putting on this weekly club that a lot of people in the small city that I was from went to. It was like a pretty cool spot. And I've seen, well, I built friendships with lots of different age demographics because people would go out for say 3 years and then they would stop going out. And then the next group of like people that would start going out more would go out, and then I'd make friends with them. And it just kept happening. And now, you know, I've gone through probably 4 of those demographics in that city, and off the back of the festivals or the club that I had, people are getting married, people are having kids. There's all these friendship groups that have formed, and I will go and see people and I'm like, how has this happened? There's these like connections that don't make sense, and they've come together. Like I went to Coachella this year, and one of my like dearest girlfriends, she invited me with her friend group, and it was like this group of girls from Melbourne and then a group from my hometown that should not connect. I was like, this is the strangest combination. It was so much fun. Yeah, which is really cool. I find that really, really interesting. It makes it kind of worth it. Yeah. But it's a new world now. I'm into a completely different ball game. So we'll see where this one takes me. Wrapping up, what is one lesson that you'd hope people can take away from this conversation?
To listen more around you. To recognize anything little that's going on around you. To pay attention to the small things, really. Just any small sounds, any small gestures, any small conversations, and small interactions. Even your coffee shop order today. How was that barista? Maybe you can give a compliment next time. Make their day, you know? Just listening more and acting more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to slow down to be able to do that.
Slow down, exactly.
You can't do that if you're sending it 24/7.
Yeah. I think that's been the biggest thing for me too, is slowing down.
Yeah. Yoga helps.
Yoga helps for sure.
A lot.
Meditation, breathing exercises.
Yeah. 6 coffees.
Just 3.
Just 3. Oh, Niki, is there anything that you are excited about at the moment that you would like to let the listeners in on?
I am going on a trip with my mom in a week.
Okay.
And I'm taking her along with me as a +1 to like my work trips.
That's so fun.
To Turkey and Greece.
Wow.
And she's never been to either.
Oh.
And yeah, last year I took her to Mexico for her birthday.
That's so cool.
And she loved it. And I think that mother-daughter time for me is just so precious.
Yeah.
Knowing how much my mom did to me.
Whoa.
Knowing how much my mom did for me while growing up has been just, you know, I've reflected on that a lot.
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
Give back.
Yeah, I love that. Nice.
Yeah.
And where can people find you if they're interested?
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, at Niki Victoria. Yeah.
Great. Niki, thank you for coming on.
So much. This was so fun.
Sure. I've got one more question for you.
Yeah.
What is the meaning of life?
To find your purpose in this world. Yeah.
And to find your purpose, go to YouTube, subscribe to Niki.
No, the purpose of life. No, the purpose of life is to enjoy every moment.
Yeah. Even the ones that aren't enjoyable?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Because the more you recognize that you're having like a low day or a bad day, you can't have a high day without a low day. You can't have a good day without a bad day. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to find out. C'est la vie.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Paka. And if you've made it this far and enjoyed the episode, please go to YouTube, search That One Time with Adam Metwally, click subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment.
Woo! Thanks, Adam.